I know everybody started dinner, and we apologize. We were having conversation and didn't realize that Father Brunette is here to give the invocation and blessing of the food, and so he'll bless what you've eaten and then bless what you're about to eat, if that's okay. With that, Father Larry Brunette.
Put it back on your plates. Right now. What an incredible facility, what an incredible evening. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you. So we're here to celebrate, we're here to learn, we're here to congratulate, and all those other things that goes along with servicing people. Today, just for a reminder myself, I watched the narrative once again about Martin Luther King and what he had to do to change things. Well, guess what? Things are changing here for the better. Lord, we ask you to bless the food that we are eating and that we are going to be eating this evening. We want to be cognizant always of people who are in this world who have nothing. There are people, as you know, who are starving, famine. I mean, that's a biblical term for crying out loud. So we're very fortunate in this country, very fortunate to have facilities like this to help people who are in such great need. So bless us, O Lord, for these thy gifts, which we are about to receive by the bounty of Christ our Lord. Amen. And may Almighty God bless all of you.
Thank you. Enjoy the balance of your meal. Thank you. Right now, you are in the Dan Casey Activity Center, which was something that opened, and we celebrated its opening in, actually, I think it was August of this past year. We moved into this facility at Memorial Day, and so we haven't been in here very long. But this is our adult day programming center, along with space for our residential program. So it's fun to see what we could reconfigure the space to be. And we hope that you're comfortable, and we're glad that you're here. Tonight, we're going to tell our story, tell you a little bit about what we do and how it all fits into the vision that Dr. King had related to his beloved community, and how we all fit with one another. And I hope that you get some value out of what you hear. But before we start to tell our story, I'd like to turn the floor over to Regina Brent and give her the opportunity to say a few words, and as inspiring as she always is. So Regina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mike. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out. Unfortunately, I'm feeling a little alone here because my better half is not here tonight. Mr. Dan Wagner, the one who is responsible for filling up many rooms throughout the year. And so he's down in Springfield today with the Goodwin family. Mr. Dan Goodwin's family, because Mr. Goodwin is being honored by the General Assembly today. And it was imperative that Dan, being like a godson of his, had to be with the family. So in honor of Mr. Goodwin and his acknowledgments for today, I would like to take a moment of silence on his behalf, if you don't mind. So let us close our eyes and bow our heads. Thank you. Thank you. No good deed, I don't believe, goes undone without a sacrifice. He lost Mr. Goodwin, I lost Mrs. King. We lost Mrs. King, Mrs. Naomi Ruth King, the sister-in-law of Dr. Martin Luther King, who lived to be 92 years old and gave much to societies in order to bring unity, love, and self-respect. They were the trailblazers for the civil rights movement, as you know, and I had become somewhat of adopted daughter of hers. And so with losing her, I've been a little different lately. And it's ironic, Mike, that we're talking about autism awareness, because when they mention the term neurodiverse, I think we're all a little guilty of autism, of dyslexic, ADHD, at times in our lives when we're going through something that we become unfunctionable, maybe just for a moment, sometimes for a lifetime. Because when those kind of people like a Mrs. Goodwin, a Mr. Goodwin, or a Mrs. King cross your path, there's a void in your life that they leave, because you can't keep them here forever. But I don't take it as if it's a spectator sport, that when I meet those kind of people, they don't affect me in some kind of way for a lifetime that will make me become accountable, responsible, enough to acknowledge the contributions they've given us in order to carry on the baton. And so tonight, I thank you for being here, for listening, because when we even think of neurodiverse situations, the terminology is well understood, Janice, about the African American race, about the kids or the adults, the children that God created just like He created us, to not think that they are abnormal just because they don't function in a way that we deem brilliant or positive. It's as if when you're looking at them, that we see something so different from ourselves that we would tend to treat them differently, when in essence they're not different at all. They are gifted children. They are children who have great expectations, just like we do. They operate in a sense that they expect life expectancy just like we do on a normal basis. They just possibly approach it differently. And so as I was coming up as a kid, my mother had 16 children, and not one of them were deemed abnormal. However, one of them were deemed to be slow, a retard, attending school classes that were EMH classes, those were the acronyms, and the teachers in this room will tell you the kids teased them as being empty-minded heads. But the only thing they found out that she had a real gift in is giving them a beat down when they made fun of her. And with that being said, we were very proud because we could say, I'll go get my sister. And when they heard that, it all ceased. But today they call it bullying. They call it ostracizing those very people with those type of gifts. And my son said today, Mom, those kids are to be looked at as not their deficiency. We shouldn't detect right away their deficiency. We should try to look at their strengths. And once you get to know them, they will show you their strengths. So tonight I'm standing here for little Annie and Mike and John Wagner and Rebecca Brent, my sister, and all the other children and adults that the norm seen and deemed them to be differently. So I thank whoever created this neurodiverse terminology, because what it says is God blessed us all with a mind, but he also had a sense of humor, and that is to let us all know it doesn't matter what color, what gender, or any of that, what race, but what it matters is that we look at them from the aspect of the human race, treat them the way we want to be treated, and to love them in spite of their shortcomings. And so I've heard someone say before that misery loves company, and sometimes we're miserable within our own space. But ecstasy does too, meaning that once we discover their strengths, we will look over their deficiencies. So thank you, Mike, for inviting us here today. Thank you for your support for MLK, and I want to tell you, January 15th, when I stood on that stage and I looked abroad and I could see faces of many different kinds, cultures and races from many different places. You could see people, I saw people as far as the eye could see. And that was because for one day, whether you were Democrat, Republican, black, white, Sikh, Muslim, Jewish, LGBTQ, or post-traumatic depression of a person with PTSD, that morning you came together in the sub-zero weather to say, I support the legacy of Dr. King, and that legacy is to continue to bring about change. So thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Regina. That was awesome, as always. It's interesting, you never want to follow somebody that has such incredible remarks and was so inspirational, because, quite honestly, you took about half of what I suggested. I'm going to go ahead and get that shirt. It's interesting. We were having a conversation, and before everybody arrived, and we were talking about the individuals we serve, and we were talking about their feelings. And one of the things that I shared that I've learned from being in this position now a little over 7 years is that I've always had the perspective that everyone has challenges. Some are just more visible than others, and that's just the reality of it all. And I would venture to say that every one of you in this room has something that you're dealing with, but we don't necessarily see it. The people that we care for and the people that we work with, it's more visible. And so to that extent, we get a sense of what it is because we can see it, but at the same time, we also deal with the fact that some of these individuals can't communicate to us what it is they're feeling, but we know that it's not right, and we see them react to certain things. And so we have these challenges that we try to overcome, and how and why Little Friends is here and how and why Ray Graham got here, it came through someone seeing a need and saying that we need to do that. Little Friends got started in 1965 as an organization by a woman who saw that children that had Down syndrome didn't have a place to go, and so she started a therapeutic day school. And never in her wildest dream when she started that did she think that it would evolve into the organization that it is today. But at that time in Chicago, the kids that were with Down syndrome and dealing with that didn't have anywhere to go, and oftentimes they stayed home. So what happens now is that they have places to go and they have therapeutic schools, and we are one of several that are in the state of Illinois, but it's part of the services that we provide. And we provide and we help children and adults that are challenged by intellectual and developmental disabilities, social and emotional challenges, and autism. And we offer a variety of different services that help those children, adults, and their families deal with what they're trying to do. If you'll allow me, and since I'm going off the cuff, I can at least tell you what we do. We have services that start with children from age 3 through adolescence in our Center for Autism. You've heard Dan Wagner when he refers, or Mike Briggs, and it's the Center for Autism. That's really just one of really 6, 7 different programs that we offer. But it's a program that provides clinical support for children that are dealing with autism, and we're providing speech and occupational therapy and social supports as well in terms of the things that we do. And we work with young children with that, starting at age 3. Our schools, we operate 2 schools that start with children at age 3 to age 22, or through age 22. One part of our school, which is about 80% of it, is focused on children that are on the autism spectrum and typically something else, normally behavior disorders. And then we have a group of high schoolers, adolescents that are dealing with social and emotional issues. And these are kids that need a second chance in life or need to really have a second start. And so what we try to do is, between a combination of academics and therapy that they go through every day, we help them rebuild their self-confidence and get them to the point that they could go back into their schools. The day program you're sitting in, and we support over 100 adults that come to us every day that we help with either providing life's activities to where they daily activities with friends, things that they can do to teach themselves how to be more independent, but also to socialize and to have fun. And then also with that is we have a small work program that enables them to work additional. And then we have 42 homes that we manage, that we provide residential support, 41 of which are dedicated to adults, and 1 is a children's group home. We offer a social club, we offer respite family services, and we've really branching, and we're getting into trying to get and create employment opportunities for adults of the neurodiverse, being able to help them get into a community integrated work setting. One of the most glaring needs in terms of what's out there in the marketplace is that there are individuals who really want to have a job in the community, and they want to do something other than sweep floors. And so how can we provide them the skills and the experiential learning to where they can do that and have the self-confidence that they can be successful? A lot of times in the things that we see, and we have conversation, especially with those individuals whose needs are less significant, what we find is that if they just believe in themselves and they have that self-confidence, that they can succeed. And so we've decided to take it upon ourselves to provide job coaching and training and work with employers in combination to be able to provide individuals that chance to be successful. But as you talk about the neurodiverse and the work that we do, as I was doing my research about Dr. King, and Dan said, well, you need to talk about the beloved community. I said, okay, I can do that. But what became very clear to me was that Dr. King's vision, that we were all together, and inclusiveness what we do speaks to the whole topic of inclusiveness and the individuals that we care for and the people that we serve. And we do look at it that way. We look at it as people we serve. That's what we call the folks that we work with. Inclusion is so important, and so as here we are in the month of April celebrating, if you will, Autism Acceptance Month, it really speaks to what we do in terms of what it's all about, which is the whole topic of inclusion. And so as I think about the lessons that have been shared through the different visits that we've had with all the different entities that we've had the opportunity to go visit, and the different cultures and the different things that we're seeing, in a lot of ways it speaks to the message that Regina had. I know she ducked out. Where's she? Oh, there you are. Inclusion and treating everybody the way we want to be treated is really a part and a lesson. It's a part of our corporate values, but it's the backbone of what I think a lot of all of this is all about. And so it's a pleasure to share with you the work that we do. I know what I told you was a drink from a fire hose, and I've been accused of doing that a bunch of times, but when someone steals all your remarks and you got to do it off the cuff, it is what it is. So with that being said, we hope that you've enjoyed it, and I'll conclude my remarks, but Karen Musumbi from Ray Graham, I'll turn the podium over to you, let you say a few words. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I have nothing to say. It's all been covered. My name is Karen Musembi, and I'm the Chief Services Officer at the Ray Graham Association. Ray Graham, like Little Friends, supports people with disabilities to reach, grow, and achieve their dreams. Our organization was created in 1950 by a group of parents who were looking for services in a basement of a church. And over time, then they named the organization after the first special ed teacher, Mr. Ray Graham. We offer similar services to the same Little Friends offers. So we specialize in 5 specialty areas. So residential, we offer homes within the community, recreation, employment, family support, life skills, and most recently we added a behavioral health clinic. But I just have to put some perspective. The first time I was, I had to sit in for Kim, our CEO, she just left, to go to another engagement. But when I went to the first event, I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure what sort of conversations we were having and what this was about, but I knew for a fact it included Martin Luther King, and you understand what his work and his mission is. And it was a very easy invite for us to say, yes, we want to be at this seat. Mike talked a little bit about the population and the people we support. And what this group is trying to do is phenomenal. The January 1st, the January 15th breakfast, we actually had people we support attend. They still talk about it today. And I'll tell you why. Because they say I was included. I was a part of that group. And what we are really hoping today, if we forget anything, for the people we support, there is a mantra that they use a lot in self-advocacy. And they say nothing about us without us. And the reason they say that is from the moment a mom or a dad has a child with a disability, from the professionals, they are told, don't drink too much. You need to lower your standards, and that person is different. So we grow up looking at the population and the people we support from a deficit standpoint. I'm heartbroken over and over when I meet with families and I tell them, tell me about your son and about your daughter. They've been conditioned to say, well, Mike has Down syndrome, and I stop them. I'm like, tell me, what does Mike like to do? And the conversation changes. People will tell you they have this behavior and they have this medication. Why? We all are on something, and we don't go telling people that. But because somebody has a disability, we think it's okay to do that. And what we are trying to hope, especially with the momentum this group has really gained, is to break that stereotype. How about we look at people from what Regina said, the human race? We're just people. Why do you have to put a label on me? So I'm really hoping we understand that people with disabilities have every right that you and I have, every single right that you do. They want the same things. They have the same dreams. They may not be able to use a word, but I can tell you, you understand them if you just listen and pay attention. And I'm hoping at the next committee meeting, we have them at the table. Part of this, they can tell you their story and how it's like. Anytime you walk into a room, somebody says, they're here, those people, until you get to know them. They may do things a little different. They may look a little different, just like we all look different, but at the end of the day, they're humans, like you and me. They want to love and to be loved. They want to belong. They want to be a part of that. So when we talk about neurodiversity, we really need to be the group that lights, that, shines that bright light to break those stigmas in the society. So when you think about if you have a child with a disability, a relative with a disability, give them a voice so that every time you go, we do this. Somebody goes to the doctor, and they're sitting right there. We talk about them in third party. They're sitting right there. Involve them. We go to the doctors, and the doctor does not look at the person with a disability and looks at you. Why? That's a patient. But we treat them from the assumption of what they cannot do. And I'm going to give you a challenge, and maybe the next time when you come, find somebody who doesn't look like you, maybe who has an obvious disability, and engage with them from the assumption they can understand, they are smart, they can speak for themselves, and come back and report what you found out. You'll be shocked. Some of them are smarter than me. They know a lot, but sometimes because of their physical disability, we make the assumption. The same thing this group is trying to, the stigma this group is trying to break down. We look at each other like, she talks different, she has a funny name, she's wearing a different outfit, and then all of a sudden we are making assumptions. Next time, when you meet people, just look at your person, you and me, doesn't matter what you look like, and make the assumption of what I want for my life is similar to you, although we may look different. So I am hoping, as we continue this conversation, if really we don't hear a lot of things, we've been to a lot of places, churches and different cultural places. I've really enjoyed when I've been able to make it to everywhere, to see, regardless of how it looks so different from the outside, at the end of the day, we are the same, truly the same. We have more in common than it's different. So I really hope tonight, based on what Mike has shared and what I've shared, when we talk about this group and what we represent, we include people with disabilities, but not just include them. We don't want them to come here and then they sit at the table. Give them the mic. They will talk to you. They will tell you their story. And we want to really make that mantra known. Nothing without us. Nothing about us without us. And that's how all of us should include each other. Don't talk for me, let me not talk for you. How about we are at the table and share the same information. So thank you so much for being here and for hearing our story and for championing what we do. We support people with disabilities, but we also support people with very, very high abilities. So we try to focus on what people can do, not their deficits. And I think if we all look at each other that way, we see more good in each other than what our shortfalls are. So I hope we can learn from each other. When you are in your communities and you find people that are looking for support, services, and you don't know where to start, we are a resource. If we don't have the answers, we may be able to help you find the answers. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. That was awesome. So I've been asked, you're in the Dan Casey Activity Center, and for for a long, long time, well beyond 15 years. But Dan was a member of our board of directors. Dan served as chairman of the board for 6 years. He was the reason I'm in this job, quite honestly. He was a dear friend. He was a proprietor that supported so many individuals who needed help, and it wasn't just individuals that Little Friends supported. If there was a cause in the western suburbs, Dan found a way to be able to provide support from his grocery store, Casey's Food Store. And so for those of you that may not necessarily be familiar with Dan Casey, but may have heard of Casey's Foods, Dan was just a pillar of strength and support in our community. And so recently when we opened up the facility, and we lost Dan a year ago January, we decided that a way to recognize and remember Dan's contributions and support to Little Friends was to name this room after Dan. And so that's why this is the Dan Casey Activity Center. And we say it with pride. You see his picture on the wall when you walked in, and anybody knows him now, I'm sure he's got a Manhattan in his hand upstairs. But he was a wonderful, wonderful gentleman, and we miss him greatly. I hope you guys found this to be of value. I hope that you learned something a little bit. You want to come back up before we shut down? Okay, well then, before we shut down, I'm going to let Regina have the mic one more time.
Dan is going to see this video and he's going to hang me if I don't give you the next information regarding the next event. So when you get home, put this on your calendar or put it in your phones. It's going to be May 2nd. Night Court Gas is hosting the Asian community, and the person that's coordinating that is Mrs. Karen Ng. And that event will take place between the hours of 5 and 7 p.m. Yes, I would love for the DuPage Foundation people to stand. Please, give them a round of applause. These are the people, they may be the ones who are holding the endowment, but they are the people behind the curtain that brings all of this full circle. Not only that, let's give Mrs. Lisa Wagner a round of applause, because she is the one who handles all the technology when it comes to websites and advertisements and invitations, and Jessica Barr. So in their absence, let's give them a round of applause, please. Caitlin is the other one here who takes care of that as well. So I want to thank you for coming again tonight, and don't forget, Night Court Gas, May 2nd, from 5 to 7 p.m., and that will be an Asian attire dinner. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Regina. You know, Dan Wagner's not here, but for those of you that have interest in posting on social media, and maybe you could take a picture of your table and say, "We miss you, Dan," I'm sure he'll see it. So anyway, thank you all for coming. There are cookies and coffee in the back if you like, but thank you so much. It's been our pleasure to have you.
This will be the way to dance for some time.